Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is part 8 of our series frequently asked JavaScript interview questions. Let's begin this video and let us see what are the question and answers we will be covering in this video. Our first question is, what are different ways to create object in JavaScript? So in JavaScript we have multiple ways of creating object. In this video we will be looking into four approaches. Our first approach is object literal, second is object constructor, third is Object.create, and fourth is Object.assign. So let us see by code example on how we can create object by using these approaches. As we can see, that first approach which we discussed was object literal. So this is the most simplest approach of creating the object. What you have to do, you have to just write let var or const, and you have to initialize, you have to write your variable name and initialize them with some value inside curly braces. These curly braces starting and ending you have to do, and in between this you will be having properties name, country. It can be anything, like properties can be some value or it can be a function also. So this is the simplest way, and this is called as object literal. Next we have is object constructor. So in object constructor we will be making use of new keyword, and this is a class. So we are making a instance. Okay, we are making a instance of a object class with the help of new keyword. So in other languages also, if you see, new keyword is basically useful when is used in constructors only. Like whenever we are trying to initialize our instance, we're creating an object from any class, then we make use of the new keyword. Here this capital O, object, is a class, and this will be our object, or you can say it as it is an instance of our class. After you have got your instance, then you can make use of dot notation to add some property to the object. So here we have made use of user dot name is equal to Shruti, and user dot country is equal to India. So this is our second approach, that is object constructor. Third one is Object.create. So when do we use Object.create? This is used when we want to inherit the properties from the existing object while creating a new object. So this is already a created object, okay? And this is called as object literal. You can see like this, and this is same. So this is already created object. Now you want to create another object, but you also want to inherit the property of some other object, like the parent object. So what we have made use of here is Object.create. This dot create method we have used, and we are pointing to the parent object. Now whatever is the object created, it is stored in Shruti named object, and Shruti is going to have all the properties of human too. So this is our third approach on how to create object. This object we can create along with its individual properties. It is also going to inherit the property from the parent object. This is our third point. And then we have the fourth one, which is Object.assign. So Object.assign, this is also used when we want to include a property from the another object, either one object or multiple objects, into a new object that we are creating. So here also you can see that here we are having a object which is already created, and this is a simple object literal, and now we are creating a new object called Shruti new. So what we will make use of, what we are using here is Object.assign. Here it was Object.create. Here instead of create you are just making use of assign, and in create you used to have only one argument. In assign you can have multiple, you can have more than two also. So what is currently happening here is Object.assign. We have first given an empty object, and this empty object is going to have all the properties of human object, and this human object is pointing to this. Okay, this human object is coming here. So whatever the properties are assigned to this empty object is being returned in the new variable called Shruti new, and in this object you can have any new property, or it can also have a and it will also have the properties from the parent object. Now you can ask me, what is difference between create and assign? Like what is the difference here? In both of them we are inheriting the properties. So one difference which you can noticeably see here is, which you can notice here is, here in create you have only one argument, Whereas in Object.assign you have two argument, which is almost similar only. But in Object.assign, what you can do, suppose before human you had some object called living organism. Okay, living organism was some kind of object, and then what you can do, Object.assign, you will have a empty object here, and then you can write human and comma, you can write it as living organism, and then you can close your brackets. So in Object.assign, you can inherit properties from multiple objects. Here in Object.create, it was only one. In Object.assign, you can have multiple, like not only two, you can have multiple objects, where what will happen, properties of every object like living organism, human, everything will go, and it will be given to our empty object, and then this empty object value is returned in the new variable called Shruti new. So these are the four ways of creating object in JavaScript. Now let's see the next question. Our next question is, what is difference between Object.keys and Object.keys, Object.values and entries? So whenever you are having any object, then if you write Object.keys, it is going to give you an array with keys. If you write Object.value, it is going to return you an array with values, and in Object.entries, this will return you a array of key value pair. In this example, if you see, let me show it. Yeah, here we are having a code snippet. Here we will see what will happen. If you have written Object.keys, this is going to give you a array for sure, and in this keys you are going to get name and country. Whatever are the keys of our object, that you will get name and country. And in Object.values, again this will be a array of values, and values will be values. Okay, it will be Shruti and India. And in Object.entries, it will be a array again, and array will have array of key value pair. Now what are key value pair here? First key value pair is name and Shruti. Okay, so this is how you will have, and then again there will be comma, and after this you will have next key value pair, that is country comma India. This is how you will get the answer whenever you are making use of entries, dot entries method of our object. Let's see our next question now. Next question is, what is difference between Object.freeze versus Object.freeze? What this does is, this makes the object immutable. If you're making use of this method on any object, this will make your object immutable. It prevents addition of any new property, and it will also prevent modification of the existing property. So whatever is the value of the existing property, like for example name is equal to Shruti, name is to Shruti, so that modification, like if you want to change the name, that modification you cannot do. Whereas in C, it prevents addition of new property, but you can modify the existing property. So if the name is Shruti, you can go and change it to something else. That is the difference between freeze and seal. They both make your object immutable, but in freeze, it prevents modification of existing property. In seal, you can modify existing property. Our next question is, what is polyfill in JavaScript? So a polyfill is a piece of code which provides the modern functionality to the older browser that does not natively support it. So there are some older browsers which do not support the latest version, latest update of JavaScript, and if you're making use of those methods or those updates of JavaScript and your application runs in the older browser, then your application might break. So in that cases, you will have to write some custom logic for whatever is the new update or new feature which you are using of React. There you will have to make use of your custom logic so that it is supported in older browser also. So that piece of code is called as polyfill. Next question is, what is use of prototype in JavaScript? So if you want to add a property at the later stage to a function which can be accessible across all the instances, then we make use of property. So if you're having an object and previously you declared some you have initialized some properties, but in future you want to add something else also, then you can make use of prototype. So if these are the questions which we have discussed in our video. If you learned anything from this video, then do consider giving a like to this video, and you can let me know if you have any feedback or any suggestion. You can let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching.